everybody. Welcome to the United States Black Chambers, the USBC Directory live online show. Listen, this is great. It's so great to be back. Man, we've been out for a couple of weeks. Had some pretty interesting events going on last week with the Byron Allen case, and so that's been pretty interesting. So welcome to the United States Black Chambers USBC Directory. We have some great guests on this evening. Really excited about that, and man, a lot of great things, man. And so we have this show every week. The reason why we do this show is to bring to you and to provide to our audience that we have great Black-owned businesses around the country that you might not see on some of the major networks. But as an organization, we want to do what we can to bring these shows to you and bring rather these companies to you so that you can see some of the great Black-owned companies that are doing great business around the country. So begin to share the broadcast, start some watch parties, share some watch parties, and begin to share the broadcast. We're excited to have our guests today, and I'll be introducing them here shortly. So again, welcome to the United States Black Chambers. It is Wednesday, November 20th, 2019. Wednesday. Again, I keep saying it. It is November. It's almost Black Friday. So we want to make sure that we let everyone know that we want to be excited about shopping Black on Black Friday. They call it Black Friday for a reason. We want to make sure that we're finding Black-owned businesses that we are supporting, Black products, and we will be doing some special shows on Black Friday as well to bring some of our companies on that have great products. So welcome again to the United States Black Chambers USBC Directory live online show, and excited to have you all to be a part. This is really, really fun today, and you have some great guests, man. We've just kind of been laughing and joking behind the scenes. If you all kind of heard all of that was going on, you'd be like, oh my God. So this is great. So start some watch parties, share the broadcast, let everyone know that USBC Directory is live. We're on the air tonight, and we have some great guests. We have some great guests that I'll be explaining here in a few minutes. So if you have not done so yet, please subscribe and follow us on YouTube. You can go into YouTube, type USBC Directory, and follow us on YouTube. That's our channel there. We a lot of things that you don't see here on Facebook, you'll be able to see there on YouTube. And we share a lot of our clips there on YouTube as well. So definitely follow us there on YouTube. And if you have not done so yet, download the app. Download the USBC Directory app. Download the app, the largest Black business directory in the world. We list over 100,000 Black-owned businesses. We list restaurants, hotels, doctors, lawyers, attorneys. We list many different industries, those that have products, Black-owned products, locations where you can actually go and find individuals to spend your money and shop with as well. So anything that you're looking for that Black people provide, we pretty much list there in the USBC Directory. Again, over 100,000 Black-owned businesses around the country. We list them in the United States, United Kingdom, and the Caribbean islands, in Africa, and just many other places as well. So if you're looking for Black businesses, the easiest way on the planet to locate Black-owned businesses is the USBC Directory. So make sure that you're downloading that directory, and that also tell somebody about it. Also, people are always, if you're online, if you're on Facebook, if you're on social media, people are always asking how to find Black-owned businesses. We've made it easy for you to be able to locate Black-owned businesses, and it's GPS located. So no matter where you are in the United States, you put your GPS on, and you'll be able to locate some Black-owned businesses that are close to you. So download the app so that way you can support Black businesses because they need our dollars, which is absolutely excellent. All right, so this is great. So again, download the app, share the broadcast, let everybody know that we're on. We are live. We are live with the United States Black Chambers USBC Directory, and I'm really excited about our guests. They've done some great work. They've done some really, really great work, and I want to be able to share that information with you, with our audience. And, we need to learn what we are doing as a community. We have to educate ourselves to find out what we're doing as a community. So we're really excited about what's happening here and what's happening live today on the USBC Directory Live. So also, I do want to mention our sponsor. Every week we have sponsors of the show, and I want to thank our members that are sponsoring the show. So this week, the sponsor of the show is Warhol and Wall Street. Warhol and Wall Street was featured on the USBC Directory Live 2 weeks ago, November 7, 2019. Warhol and Wall Street creates, nurtures, and develops an economy of cultural producers who will set the trends of tomorrow. Warhol and Wall Street provides business clients with the most dynamic, creative, and state-of-the-art multimedia campaigns through individual creation, open collaboration, and assisted development. So Warhol Wall Street uses strategy, art, and experience to create stronger relationships between their clients and their customers. So if you're needing marketing services, you're needing to reach a larger audience, I would highly suggest that you reach out to our sponsor for today. And again, their name is Warhol and Wall Street. Their web address is Cut Through and Be Heard. Again, that's Cut Through Be Heard. Let me give that to you again. CUTTHROUGHBEHEARD, cutthroughbeheard.com. I'll be placing that information down there in the comments so that way you could find out and see exactly who they are. So I'm not going to take up any more time. I'm excited about the show. Let me bring on the guests. Let me read a little bit about them tonight. So tonight's guest on USBC Directory Live is Edwards and Hill Office Furniture. Edwards and Hill Office Furniture completed installation of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment. They call it FF&E for the MGM Casino, Hotel, and National Harbor, Exelon headquarters at Harbor Point, Maryland Live Casino, Caesars Horseshoe, Baltimore, and the 2,000 guest rooms and suites at the Gaylord National Harbor. That is really, really great. That is some great work. So without further ado, I do want to welcome Mr. Tony Hill and Hans Edwards of Edwards and Hill Office Furniture. How are you doing today, gentlemen?
We're good, Brian. Glad to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
No, without a doubt, this is absolutely great. Glad to have you all on. So again, you all are also guests of the United States Black Chambers. So glad to have you as a member of the chamber. So again, I just want to set the stage again for everyone that's watching. I just want to make everyone aware again that every week we bring on guests that are Black-owned businesses that are doing great things around the country and around the world. And we do what we can to highlight our businesses because our businesses are doing great things that many times we never hear about them. We don't read about them. We don't see them in the news or anywhere else. So we do what we can to make sure that our audiences and people are aware of the businesses that we have. So what I would love to do in the beginning is go ahead and introduce yourselves, gentlemen. We could start with Tony, Hans, whichever one you want to start with. Introduce yourself.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll start with Tony. Go ahead, Tony. Introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Tony Hill. I'm managing partner of Edwards and Hill Office Furniture and founding member.
I'm Hans Edwards, partner, Edwards and Hill Office Furniture, founding member also.
Perfect. All right, so this is good. So Tony, give us a little background about you, how you all got into this business. How did you start? And what were you doing before? Before you actually started this company?
Sure. I think it's a pretty interesting story, a faith walk, as you need to oftentimes do as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
So I have a degree in telecommunications. I have a radio, TV background. Hans is an electrical engineer by trade, but he also, more as of a hobby, has been involved in the entertainment industry in terms of on-camera commercials, TV, things like that. But I did make my living doing it for about 10 years. And when I first started, I met Hans at the first shoot that I went on when I went full-time freelance. Long story short, later we decided to develop a website, me developing the content and the idea, Hans building it from a technical point of view. That was the start of the company. Worked out for a little while, then the dot-com crash. We retooled it, realized it wasn't going to do what we wanted it to do. And we started some event planning, some promotions, and then one of those opportunities went south before it happened. And I got a contracting officer to give us an opportunity with some furniture, which has ended up being 6 chairs. We fell into that. We did a good job delivering those chairs, did a couple of offices for them, maybe 4 months later. And the rest is history. For about the next 9 years, the phones didn't stop ringing, emails didn't stop coming. And eventually I looked at Hans and said, you know what, whether we want to admit it or not, we're a furniture company now. And here we are 21 years later. Yes. It's just been 99% of our revenue.
Wow, that's interesting. So Hans, same question. What were you doing before and how did you get into it? And how did you, and tell me about the partnership. How did you end up linking up? Because we have an issue sometimes in our community with Black individuals and our Black business owners actually working together. So how did that happen as well?
Well, again, it was a faith walk for me too. I'm a spiritual guy, just like Tony, and I was working with a defense contractor. That was my day job, but I would, dabble in the acting thing as a hobby. And I ran into Tony at it was a seatbelt safety PSA, and we started talking about the web, and I got a good vibe from him. Like, he seemed like he was a pretty, honorable guy, but I was a little, let's see. So I told him I would build a website and to promote his acting capabilities, and I wouldn't charge him for it. And he didn't believe me, but I
Sure
built
did.
it, never charged him. And then I guess he saw that I was a man of my word, and I saw that, you know, he was a man of his word, and we, you know, that we just kept growing and growing, and until we got to where we are now.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was, because I've always been of the entrepreneurial spirit, but I never got the idea and or the help to kind of really jump off with that. And what impressed me about Hans when I met Hans was the whole reason that he built the website for me. He said he was going to build websites for the next 4 people that he met who needed a website, because he was teaching himself HTML. And I thought, wow, if this guy's actually building websites so he can become proficient at building websites, then he at least has the initiative to make things happen. He's got some foresight. And quite honestly, like he said, I didn't expect him to actually build it for free. I figured the other shoe was going to drop at some point, and he'd say, well, just give me, you know, $200 or something like that. But it never happened. And so when I had an idea for a business that involved the internet, then I ran it past him. He thought it was a good idea. And I said, hey, how about I provide the idea and the content? You build it. And that's when we formed the business. And here we are again, 21 years later.
Yes.
No, that is absolutely amazing. And so 21 years, that is quite a long time. You know, it's a lot of businesses, they fail within the first 3 years or so.
Yes.
And so give me some of your successes. So tell me about some of the great things, and then we're going to work our way backwards. So tell me about some of the great things that you've done and some of the great companies that you've worked with over the years.
You want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead and start.
I guess some of the bigger clients and some of the clients that have taken the journey with us, where we have more of a strategic partnership. And of course, you do business with people that you know. So developing those relationships. We used to say we sell furniture. Now we say we build relationships,
Yes.
and the people that we build the relationships
Yes.
with buy furniture from us. So we're talking about Exelon, BGE, University of Maryland, the Cordish companies, Maryland Live, Hopkins, and a number of others. MGM,
Yes.
of Gaylord, those. And what's good about them is either they were very large projects that kind of put us on the map and gave us credibility, and or the organizations are run in such a way from the top down that they truly do their best. And it's a heavy lift, but they do their best to be inclusive. And all we ask people for is to give us a seat at the table and a fair shot at earning their business. We don't ask anybody to give us anything. And part of the challenge is, and I'll give you a perfect example. We had one client, the head of this large organization. She was the head of contracting.
Okay.
And it took probably 2.5 years maybe of working with them and educating them, because that's what I think you really have to do as a minority business in particular.
Yes.
And one day she called me and she said, she said, I finally understand why it's so difficult for a business like yours to do business with an organization like ours. And once she got it, because we've been telling her, like we always educate people, here are the challenges, here's why things are challenging, here's how we can really level the playing field. And it's good for you, it's good for us. But once they get that, they buy in, then the partnership really takes off. But it's difficult for people to help when they don't see the problem.
Okay. It all starts at the top. Anyway, we will say if we see the CEO trying to make change to be all inclusive, that's a company to try to work with, because they're going to make it happen. So all our successes have been with companies that have, learned from our experience and the education that we've given them, the partnership, and wanting to change and be inclusive. And we've been successful with those companies. The other ones that weren't so open, it's not a good partnership. We, move on.
Yeah. No, that's good. So tell us about the MGM Casino, the hotel at National Harbor. So tell us about some of the big companies that you've done work with. So just give us a little background behind us.
I think one of the most interesting ones, and again, being spiritual, it was God setting us up for success. Go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Give us a list of all of the major companies you work with, and then jump into that story.
Okay. So there's Washington University in St. Louis. There's the Cordish companies. There's MGM. There's Caesars.
which is Horseshoe Casino and all those.
Yeah. University of Maryland, Johns Hopkins, BGE, Exelon, University of Maryland healthcare system, and University of Maryland school.
Yes.
Baltimore City Public Schools, Baltimore County Schools, Morgan State University, Coppin State University. The list goes on. There's lots.
Yeah.
Lots. We've had government clients as well. DOD.
Yeah, DOD is a big client of ours. The military, the Army, USDA, Department of State.
Yeah.
I mean, we can tell you all the acronyms. We got all the acronyms. We do business with them.
Yeah, Department of Defense, all of that. That's quite a bit of work over 24 years. All right, so jump back into that story that you were saying that you're about to say here, Tony.
Yeah, I was going to go back to the Gaylord Hotel. We started the project in 2007, finished it in 2008. It was really what put us on the map. And being spiritual, I believe it was, what set us on this journey. And, right out of the gate, we had never done a hotel project before. And then the first one was 2,000 guest rooms. So we learned a lot, needless to say. We were successful against some pretty stiff odds, but it really set us up that now we can do these, I don't want to say with ease, because it's a challenging thing to do simply by the nature of the industry. But we handle it very well because we cut our teeth on a 2,000 guest room hotel. So
your first, what was your first job that you've done? It wasn't the 2,000 room hotel, was it?
Oh, the first job was the 6 Terrace I told you about. That was our introduction to the furniture world.
Okay.
But the first job that put us on the map, truly, after the Gaylord, was when we opened our first. Hans used to work out of his home office. I used to work out of my home office. Okay. When we actually hung our shingle and hired staff and bought vehicles and that kind of thing, that was after the Gaylord. The big thing about the Gaylord was that 2,000 guest rooms, and construction was delayed, and they turned over the last 758 rooms or something like that a few weeks before they were ready to open. So the only way we got them open on time was to install 74 rooms every 24 hours. And we had over 100 guys on staff. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish.
We had over 100 guys on staff, 2 12-hour shifts, 24 hours a day. First time in my life that I didn't know what day it was. I was just working.
That was a lot of overtime for them guys. They were loving it.
The workers, they were loving it. And we were able to give back to the community, which is one of the big things we try to do as well. I believe the mandate was that we hire 30% of our new hires from the local community, but we did 100% of the new hires from the local community. We went to the Prince George's County database, and we got a ballroom at a hotel and brought in all the folks to do all the testing and background check and all that stuff, and just really brought in anybody who wanted a job. We brought them in and interviewed them. We then selected who we would actually use, and then we kept some kind of in the bullpen that we might need to draft, so to speak. And so we were successful in really putting money back into the local economy where we were doing business. We had a lot of people who said, thank you, it changed my life. It allowed me and my wife to buy a house. It allowed me to buy my wife a car. So I mean, that was really rewarding. But at the end of the day, we learned so much. I mean, trial by fire, but we learned so much. We were successful. And it was a big challenge that, it would have been very easy to fall on our face, but we just powered through it and we got it done. The director of FF&E that hired us, he said, you tell anybody this story. He wrote us a great letter of recommendation. He said, you tell anybody that you install 74 rooms every 24 hours, he said, they're going to stand up and take a look. And the rest has been history with that. We've done a lot of hotels since then. Getting back to what you said, as I'm thinking now, it just occurred to me. We also did what they call the refresh for a 757-room Hilton in downtown Baltimore. We've done some Courtyards, some Marriotts, lots of others.
No, that is great. All right, so break it down for people that are out there that are watching and those that will be watching. What is FFE and give us like the basics of things that you do, because you do quite a bit. So what are some of the basic things that your company does for people that may want to get into your industry, or those that actually want to do business with you as well?
Okay. So FF&E is furniture, fixtures, and equipment.
Okay.
And so the easiest way to think about it is at any hotel that you go and stay in, all of the things that you see. When you go into the room, everything from the bed to the napkin dispenser to the lamps to the television to the desk, the chair, any of the furniture, the fixtures or the equipment, refrigerators, ironing boards, irons, etc.
Alarm clock.
Yeah. So
like that, yes.
so we receive all of that furniture. We order some of that furniture. We deliver it to the hotel and we install it. That's what we do in a nutshell.
Okay. So you install a lot of furniture.
Yeah, everything that's in the hotel.
And also we also supply also for clients that want us to supply it. We'll do custom design layout for our healthcare clients, our corporate clients, our hospitality clients. So we do more than just the installation side. We have the design, interior design side also, where we design your space from the four walls and the roof going up, everything that goes inside of it to make it functional, from the carpet, the artwork, the audio visual, the furniture, of course, the signage. We do signage and wayfinding, pretty much everything on the interior of a building to make it usable, whether it's a hospital, school, hotel. So those are our two, big divisions that we have: the installation side and the supply side of the furniture.
Yeah, we're a full service dealership, so we can take a project from cradle to grave.
Right. No, which is great. So you don't just do hotels; you do all types of buildings. Obviously.
Oh yes, that's just one of the segments that we verticals that we operate in. We do healthcare, we do utilities, education, and then any other office furniture. The only thing we don't do is residential. If it's corporate furniture, anything commercial, then we can supply it.
For example, it's at St. Joe's Hospital up in Towson. We did the maternity unit one year. We did all the rooms for the maternity unit. So all the furniture that goes in there, the nightstands, the dressers, this special kind of a chair for the dads that want to stay overnight with the new moms. So we do more than just regular office furniture. We'll do some medical furniture, some healthcare furniture.
We do the surgeon's lounge as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So
now, so do you all have to? Do you have to go find the furniture? Is it this furniture you have in your warehouse? Where does this stuff come from? And when you're trying to do the job there.
So we are a custom shop. 99% of what we do is custom. The only time we sell things, for lack of a better term, off the shelf, because we don't keep inventory, is when a client has a deadline that we can't get them the furniture manufactured in time, so we'll get them something off the shelf. But 99% of what we do is custom. So we have a warehouse, showroom as well, and in the warehouse things come in, and hopefully within the week they're going back out to get installed. So we don't keep inventory. And yeah, we do everything. If you had a space, we come in and talk with you, say, Brian, what do you need? You tell us, even if you don't know, then you say, I don't know. How are you going to use the space? We talk with you, listen to what you need. If you've got CAD drawings of the space, then we'll have you send those to us. We'll give it to the designer. We'll plot the furniture in. If you don't, then we'll come measure the space and draw it for you and create the CAD drawings. And then once we determine how you're going to use the space, and we discuss with you what you might need, and we make sure that it's going to not just be aesthetically pleasing, but it's going to be functional as well. Then we do 2D, 3D drawings, color renderings, so you can see what the space is going to look like. If you know what carpet you're going to put in the space, and you know what paint you're going to put in the space, we can actually import those into the drawing so you can see how the colors of your furniture is going to really look against the colors of your space. And then once we get all that ironed out, get your price where you need it to be, then we order the furniture for you. The manufacturers that we represent manufacture it, ship it to us, or ship it direct to site, whichever makes sense for the project. And then our installers show up and install it, get you to sign off, and we send you a check and get paid, hopefully.
Yeah, that's an entirely different subject. Get paid, hopefully. Yeah, no,
Exactly. We've been pretty lucky in that regard. Yes.
No, that makes a difference, man. That makes a big difference. Sometimes company takes 30 days or 60 days, 90 days, 120 days.
That's one of the challenges in our industry because there's a long sales cycle.
Yeah.
And even though your terms might say net 15 or net 30, you're exactly right. Sometimes it's 90, 100, 120 days to get paid. Meanwhile, the factory's not waiting on us to pay for the furniture. So we got to make sure that cash flow is there.
Cash flow.
Now, so one of the issues that we deal with. So again, we're here today, United States Black Chambers, USBC Directory Live online show. We're here with Tony Hill and Hans Edwards of Edwards and Hill Office Furniture. They're a member of the United States Black Chambers. And so I want you all also to give out your contact information once I finish up here as well, which is extremely important. So one of the things that we're built on 5 pillars of service. Number one is advocacy. If you follow Ron Busby, our CEO, he was on Capitol Hill yesterday, advocating on the behalf of Black-owned businesses. We're always advocating. Number 2 is access to capital. We work with institutions. We're also having a conference call coming up next Tuesday for our members and those that would love to become a part of it. Shoot me an email or place a message down in the comments. We have a conference call with JP Morgan Chase, and they're going to be discussing capital and how Black companies can get access to capital. Number 3, we built on contracting opportunities. Number 4, we develop chambers around the country. We deal with tons of chambers, Black chambers around the country as well. And number 5 is entrepreneurship development. But going back to number 2, access to capital. That seems to be an issue that many of our Black businesses have. And you guys, you've been able to break the 7-figure mark with your business, thankfully. Thank God for that.
Yes.
So how were you able to get access to capital to start your business and to really get going and to scale? Because we have great Black-owned businesses, but what we have to do is get those businesses to scale. So how were you able to get to the point to where you weren't just a regular business, but you were able to scale your business and hire some employees?
Going back to the Gaylord, that was one of the first things because it was a good project, not just in terms of the learning, the ability, but also in terms of the fact that because they were delayed, it ended up costing a lot of money to get them open on time. So we did fairly well on that project. So that was the start of it. But we would like to think we've run our business lean. We haven't gone out and bought a bunch of lavish personal things. We've put the money back into the business. We continue to put the money back into the business to make sure that the business is solid. When we do expand with the business, we try and make sure that we expand without going into debt. When we purchased vehicles, we bought them cash. So we didn't have those things hanging out there. When there was the economic downturn, that's one of the things that really helped us make it through. We were able to just tighten our belt and keep it moving because we weren't overextended. And then as we got bigger, and I should say, because that's how we started with the money out of our own pockets. We truly bootstrapped this company.
Okay.
And we probably didn't borrow a cent from anybody for 10
years, about 10,
12 years probably.
Yeah.
Really?
We literally made the money, put the money back into the business and grew organically. We probably could have grown it quicker with investors and such, but we wanted to maintain control. So we grew it slowly and methodically. And it's worked out for us. Eventually, we got to the point where we got a small line of credit with a bank. And that was really challenging. But we finally met some bankers who said, let us come. And I literally told them, not even interested. Because we had just kind of been bumping our head against the wall so long. But they said, let us come and talk to you. So I said, okay, fine. So they did, and they actually sat down and got to know our business and how our business operates. Then they understood, and they actually extended a line of credit to us. But as we grew, they weren't able to keep up. Go ahead.
But hold that point. And really quickly, I want you to give out your contact information. Give out your contact information for those that are watching. Your contact information, how they can reach you if they have a building, someone has a commercial property, has a building, has a hotel, and they need your services. Give it your contact information so they can reach you.
Sure.
Okay. Hans Edwards. It's Hans Edwards with an S. And the email address is Hans, HANS, edwardsandhill.com. That's EDWARDSANDHILL.com. And you can reach me in the office 301-317-4250, extension 2222.
And probably the easiest way is to send it to info, INFO, at edwardsandhill.com. That way both of us get it. And do that with one email. And if not, then my email is the same as Hans, except Tony at edwardsandhill.com.
Okay. So the easiest one is info at Edwards with an S and Hill, A-N-D, Hill.com.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Great. All right. So you said it was difficult. So you took about 10 years or so, 10 to 12 years before you actually went out for capital. Man, if you understood how many businesses I hear on a daily basis that need access to capital, it's mind-boggling. But I also say, and this is the point that you're going to kind of get into, the one thing I think that many of our businesses are doing is we're not doing a great job at building a relationship with the financial institutions.
Yes.
Because, and I want you to get to that because many, and so this is quite interesting. I was talking to a gentleman, I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, I think it was Monday. And he was a little bit older. I think it was probably in his 70s, and he's been in business for quite some time. And, but he said, I've never been able to get a loan. And so my question to him, I said, well, how many times did you go to the bank and ask for a loan? He said about 6 times. I immediately thought, well, you didn't go enough. Because many times, if you listen to successful people that have gone out for loans, they've been turned down 10, 15, 20 times before they find that one company. All you need is one yes before they find that one company. So tell us why it was so difficult for you, and continue with that story about the relationship that you built with.
Sure. For that first 10 years or so, we didn't even go after it. We were able to manage things, on our own with our cash flow. But then we realized that to grow to that next level, we were going to need some help. We try not to bite off more than we can chew to make sure we can mobilize it. So, and I'll be completely transparent with you. Part of it was accepting how the financial industry works.
Okay.
And that is, I'm not putting my house on the line for anything. And the financial folks will tell you, if you don't believe in your business enough to say that if I screw up, my house is in the mix, then why should we believe in you? Right. So you kind of got to come to terms with that. First and foremost, do you really believe in what you're doing? If you believe in what you're doing, you believe you're going to make a go at it, then you really shouldn't have a problem putting up some collateral. And that was probably one of the biggest hurdles for me. I'll speak for myself, for me.
And for me too.
Okay. Yes, it was in the beginning. And it wasn't that we didn't believe in ourselves. It was just, it had to be a shift in the way we think. We hadn't thought that way before. And then when somebody says, hey, we want you to sign this, we're like, I don't know about that. But then after we thought about it, we realized, okay, not that big a deal. And yeah, if we don't believe in ourselves, then why should they? So then it was a matter of, as you said, developing those relationships, having them come to our office, see what we do, meet our folks that work for us, staff, and understand our process. Kind of like I was telling you a little while ago, how our sales cycle can be pretty long. And when they see that, they can then understand the cash flow problems that we would have, because I sell you some furniture. When that furniture ships from the factory, we get emailed an invoice that day. You don't even have your furniture yet. We may have been working on your project for 3 months before we actually order the furniture.
Yes.
So now we're 4 months in when that furniture ships from the factory, and the factory says in 30 days, I want my money. Well, we're just getting the furniture maybe a week later after we get the invoice. Then we got to set up a time with you to come and install it. Then after it's installed, you got your 30 days to pay. Meanwhile, the factory says, where's my money? Not to mention all the other projects that we're mobilizing at that time. So it can be really challenging if you don't have reserves and some sort of line of credit in place to manage that.
And I want to add that finding a bank that's small business friendly too helps also. Like our bank, they were able to find a SBA loan for our first loan that we got that was able to be a little bit more flexible. So I highly recommend, the folks watching this to always, check the SBA website to see what kind of loan programs they have, and talk with your banker to see if they can work with the SBA to help you get a loan or a line of credit. Because I remember that was critical for us. also.
I'll tell you something else that's challenging, and I'm speaking for myself, but I don't think I'm the exception to the rule here. But when you talk about lines of credit, we have to know how to manage them. And for me, my thought is, or I'll say my thought was initially with the line of credit, that, okay, you've lent me X amount of dollars, it's revolving, I can use it when I want, and then pay it down when it's convenient. That makes sense, but that's not the way the bank looks at it. What the bank wants to see you do is, I've borrowed this money, and now I need to pay it back. I can then borrow it again, and then I need to pay it back.
Right.
Because they want to be sure that you're liquid enough that you can pay that money back. And even if you need it, before you send it out to the vendors that you've got to pay that money back and manage it that way. And then you can borrow it again. And that will help you to increase your line of credit, or at the very least, keep it going without the bank putting pressure on you.
So to finish up that story, I don't know if you finished that story. Finish up that story, how you went to the bank and you, Tony, and you began to develop a relationship with them. And it wasn't until then. And how many banks did you all go to before you actually got approved?
Probably 3 or 4. And there was a small bank. They were actually in Virginia. I don't even remember the name of it now. But there was a small bank that after maybe 2 or 3 tries, it looked like that might have been going to work. But then the bank that we were actually banking with, and what happened was there was a merger. We had banked with them for a long time. There was a merger, and you know how that goes, and you get all new people, nobody knows you. So that wasn't working out. But then at a networking event, I ran into some folks from that bank, and they wanted to talk to me about the line of credit. And I was like, nope, not even going to waste my time. I already found somebody else I think I'm going to work with, and that kind of thing. But they were adamant about, let us come out and meet with you. Things have changed. We're trying to get to know our customers, see what, how your business operates, et cetera. So I literally reluctantly said, okay, if you want to come out, sure. So they did. And they sat down and talked with me. And long story short, not very long thereafter, we had a line in place. And they did understand how we were working.
Wait, you went too fast. But what happened? What was the conversation? Why do you think they took to you? Or why did you take to them? Because it was happenstance. He was like, all right, well, come on out. You probably didn't really expect anything to happen. So what happened in that conversation where it actually led to a transaction?
I think they really understood that they were doing themselves a disservice by looking at some paper and casting, folks out. Because that's what they had done to us initially. So why should I talk with you again? We've already been denied. But they were being honest when they said they were doing things differently. So before, it was just the application. They didn't come out to the office. They didn't talk to me about how our business operates. They didn't ask me questions about our financials. They just looked at the paper and said, nah, I can't do it. These folks came out and asked questions, and I was able to answer them, kind of like we're sitting here talking now. And you can say, hey, you didn't finish that story. Tell me about that. One of the other things I've learned that I'd like to share with anybody who's listening is nobody knows your business like you.
Right.
And you can tell the story. And if you have a good story to tell, in telling your story, if the potential lender is willing to listen, they can get a much better feel for whether you are somebody that they could take a risk on, because it's all about managing the risk. Somebody that they can take a risk on, or maybe not. So, when they talked to me and they found out how long we'd been in business, they found out that we'd already done a pivot in business because one of them dried up and we went to the next. It dried up and we went to the next, but we stayed in business and we were growing it all by ourselves and that we bootstrapped it. And then when they found out when we had challenges, we had to let a few people go. But they understood, these guys can manage it. They know that when things get tight, they got to get leaner. And they did what they had to do to keep things going. So those are the types of things that you learn by sitting down talking with somebody. And they did that. And to the point where they were comfortable then greenlighting the line of credit.
So, but they came out to your location. You didn't actually go to there.
Absolutely.
That is pretty huge. So that's great. All right. So what, again, we're here today with Tony Hill and Hans Edwards of Edwards and Hill's Office Furniture, a great Black-owned company in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And so give us your roles. So Tony, tell us what your role is with your company, and Hans, tell us what your role is with the company right now on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. Yeah, I'm really, the big thing that I do is business development. I go out and develop the relationships in the C-suite, and then I manage the overall operations.
I would say I'm more like the COO. I make sure the back of house is running smoothly, make sure we have the latest hardware, software, hiring the right people, the marketing is right, marketing, advertising is on point, joining the appropriate organizations like USBC.
Yeah, the best organization, sir. The best organization. Let's get that right.
Right. I just like Tony, I wear multiple hats, but kind of like, behind the scenes while he's out in front doing the development with meeting all the Congress people, the CEOs of the big corporations. So it's been a good team over these 21 plus years, supporting each other and the company to help it grow. It's like a marriage. They say, you gotta know everybody's strengths and weaknesses, and just try to enhance our pluses and help the company.
And I want to go back to something that you mentioned earlier, Brian, about let's just keep it real. It's difficult to work sometimes with anybody. And sometimes, and I'll just put it out there, because of the history of this country and what it means to people that look like us, sometimes it's more difficult for us to work with each other. And I think the reason that this company works is because first you've got to develop trust, obviously. But I stay in my lane, Hans stays in his. And if I get too busy and I need Hans to come over into my lane and help me, he will, and vice versa. We've got to focus on the end game, got to be fair. Yes. And that's where I got lucky in having Hans as a business partner. He's a fair guy. He's an honest guy. So I don't have to worry about that part of it. You know what I mean? It's about business. Do we have misunderstandings? Do we have differences in opinion? Yes. But it never comes to a big fight. I know that he means me well. He knows that I mean him well. And we're in this together. So that's the reason that it works. We have respect for each other. Again, kind of staying in each other's lane or in our respective lanes, unless there is a need for help. Yes.
I think that's such a great point, because what happens with a lot of partnerships, and I have a close friend right now. He had a great company that he started, and they started to make money, but then everybody started to peek in what everybody else was doing, but nobody understood what their clear roles were. And one of the things that I understood about business a while back was, if you're going into a partnership, everybody has to understand what their job description is and stick with that job description. Stay in your lane. Aubrey's, our former chairman of the organization, Aubrey, he used to always say, stay in your lane. So that's got to be important for you all.
Yes, absolutely, definitely.
It absolutely is. And it took some finding to do it. And I'll tell you, again, transparency. There's some things that Hans isn't comfortable doing in business. I'm kind of, if I got to do it, I got to do it, just make it happen. And I wanted Hans to be the same way, but that's not Hans. I can't expect out of Hans what I do. He can't expect out of me, because I certainly am not going to be able to handle anybody's IT. It's not what I do. He used to hit me over the head all the time with how important our infrastructure was in terms of the website, having the equipment be up to date, security, social media, et cetera. And I'm the guy that watches the dollars, and I'm like, I don't want to spend the money on that stuff. But again, I had to respect his authority because he's the expert, the subject matter expert in that area. That's his lane. It's not mine. And so, again, that's what makes it work. And sometimes he wants to spend money, and sometimes I have to state the case and show him why we really shouldn't spend it. And then he has to trust me in that regard. And again, it's a give and take.
No, without a doubt. So this is great. So you've worked for some great companies again. So give us, for those that are just joining us, give us some of those companies that you've done some work for it again. Just name them off and some of the work that you've done with them.
Okay. Municipalities, Baltimore City Schools, county schools, Morgan State University, Coppin State University, Johns Hopkins University, healthcare system, University of Maryland, the University of Maryland Healthcare Center, Johns Hopkins, Hilton,
MGM, right?
Hilton, MGM, Gaylord, Caesars,
Marriott.
Horseshoe, Marriott, Cordish, Maryland Live. We're actually, as we speak, we're installing a Live by Lowe's hotel in St. Louis. We've got a satellite office in St. Louis.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about our satellite office. I mean, we made the move to open a satellite office and looking to grow it in the St. Louis area. So,
and Washington University is a client out there as well.
Okay, I want to get to that, but before we do, I got a burning question that I really want to ask. All right,
Okay.
so you've done this great work. What areas are you really trying to break into now that you have not been able to break into, and how do you really take your company to that next level? How do you scale? So what are you going after? Who are you going after? And why should they use you? Why should they trust you over all of the other companies they have? Why Edwards Hill and Office Furniture?
Sure. Yeah. So over the last couple of years, there had been a concerted push in the hospitality area. So we're doing a good bit of that. And now we're trying to grow ourselves in the utility space. So here, Exelon and BGE have been great clients. And so once we identify a vertical where we do where we fit, we can provide them with some benefits, some value. We did that with healthcare. We did that with K through 12 and higher ed. We did that with hospitality. And so now we're doing that with the energy community.
yes.
And the energy industry.
Okay, excellent. So, but why should they use you though? Like, why you versus everyone else?
Yeah. The biggest thing is customer service. We find that in the furniture industry, customer service is really lacking. Some of our best clients we've gotten because one of our competitors sold them a boatload of furniture, but they won't come back and service that chair that's broken. and the client literally is pleading with us, can you guys please come and help us? We also keep full-time installers on staff. A lot of furniture dealerships don't have installers. They sub it all out. That serves its purpose. But one of the big differences is you buy a chair from us, Brian. Let's say you buy a whole building of furniture from us and one of your chairs is broken. And you call us and say, hey, guys, I got a chair over here that's broken. Can you come take a look at it? We say, sure. And we'll probably send one of our guys over today or tomorrow. But if we only have subcontractors, then we'll say, okay, Brian, we'll get back to you. And we call our subcontractor and say, hey, how soon can you get a guy to go look at this chair? Well, they're not going to make any real money for a guy to come over and look at a chair. So they might get you somebody over there in the next 2 or 3 weeks. And so we provide the level of customer service. The other thing that we do that's really big in life, and Hans and I have found it to be really instrumental with our company, integrity. And it sounds simple, but we truly have built this company on a stellar reputation. And there have been times when competitors or somebody who didn't like us for some reason, who worked within an organization that we were a vendor for, tried to just railroad us and get us out of there. And because of our reputation, we literally would have people in very high positions call us and say, hey, here's what my people are saying. And I know you don't do business like that. What's going on? And we can then say, well, let us send you a couple of emails. Here's the email that proves we were there and we did take care of this on this date. And then it goes away. So it's integrity. The integrity and customer service, I think those are the two things that are really the standouts as to why you ought to work with us. We back up everything that we do. We finished every job. If something's wrong, and things do happen, we're going to come fix it.
And hiring the staff with that integrity and work ethic, that is critical. We have a pretty good team here, but it took many, many years of trial and error to find those people with the same values that we have. They could be the smartest person in the world, but if they don't have the integrity, they're not going to be good for our organization. And they never last because they get called out by the other staff, or we find out, and that they end up leaving or getting fired because they get caught doing something wrong. But that integrity piece is critical, and it's something that we need more of in this world today. And I'll just leave it at that.
No, absolutely. I think you mentioned two great, character traits, rather, integrity and customer service.
Yes.
If there's one thing that we hear often about Black-owned businesses is the lack of customer service. So if you have great customer service, that sets you apart from everyone else, and that automatically makes you one of the great businesses. So if you're a business owner out there watching, and if you are a new business, or if you've been in business for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, perfecting customer service, making sure that you have great customer service. I say it all the time on many of the shows, calling people back, emailing them, responding to them, going the extra mile when you don't have to. That sets you apart, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, how can I use you again? Because when you're in business, time is money. If you are able to help save someone's money by leveraging your time properly and leveraging their time properly, they will always want to use you and use you further, which is needed.
And we have a great client that Tony can tell you about, who he got promoted multiple times because we made him look so good that his boss wanted to just promote him every chance he got. And we love him, he loves us, and great client and ethical guy.
Yeah, I tell my clients literally, if I'm not helping you solve your issues, what are you hiring and paying me for? And I'm serious about that. If you're hiring me because you don't do furniture, and if you've got to then worry about all the details of the furniture, I'll tell you one thing that Hans told an old client of ours. The client was building a new medical office building, and he had a bad experience with the prior furniture vendor, and he was questioning us about a lot of little things that at first blush would look like he didn't trust us to get it done, or he didn't think we had the capability to get it done. And we did. There was never a question about that, but it was his past experience that made him ask those questions. So what Hans said to him, we were having a conference call, and Hans said to him, he said, listen, because he was trying to ask us how we were going to put the furniture on the truck, how we were going to load it, and how we were going to load it into the building. And the way he was going about it was all wrong, which is what he had learned from his prior vendor. And we said, no, we won't do it that way. And I explained to him, I said, we're going to do it this way. And then Hans put the icing on the cake, and he was just being honest. Hans said, listen, you don't have to worry about anything. Once we get the clean order and we order your furniture, we're going to set up the date we're going to come install it. And then we'll call you when it's done, and you can come and see your new building. He said, that's what I'm looking for. Because if we're not managing it that way, then he has to stay involved, and he's got a job to do. So, but this way he didn't have to. Once he placed that order for furniture, once he got us the PO, the next thing he did was come and look at his face, and he loved it. We got a great letter of recommendation, and that's how we grew our business with that particular client.
No, that is huge. All right, so tell me about Hans. We've been talking about this. I know that you all are hiring, which is good. And you're not hiring for a small job. You're hiring for some sales position.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that for somebody that might be watching who's out of work, who would love to work for a great Black-owned company with integrity and great customer service. Tell us about those openings that you have.
Okay. The title of the position is commercial furniture salesperson, and we would like somebody to have some experience in the furniture industry selling furniture, but if not, we're willing to look at somebody that has experience selling products. And Tony, you can jump in. Basically, they'd be learning our product lines and then going out to meet with clients to present the product lines to the client, working with our designer, lay out the space, and just working with the whole team here. But they need to be outgoing, very detail oriented, comfortable with technology, because we have a lot of programs we use to manage projects, and punctual, ethical, of course, and just a hard worker who is not nervous meeting new people, being able to drive around the DMV area to meet clients. You want to add anything about the position, Tony?
Well, you said pretty much what it is. And as Hans was saying, we're willing to train somebody who has the raw skills, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's got to be a good fit.
Yes.
There's a support staff, designers, customer service, project managers that support the salespeople. And then Hans and I give them support as well. You can shadow us or other salespeople to kind of see how things are done as you learn. And for somebody who's good, then I'll tell you what I just told one of my salespeople. You got a blank check. You can make as much money as you want. It just depends on how much you go out there and sell. Sky's the limit.
Yeah, it's a base salary plus commission and all the benefits, sick, 401k, vacation, all that stuff is included in the package. But go ahead, okay. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. And so how can they apply for that job? So how do they contact you if someone out there is interested?
They can send an email to info@edwardsandhill.com. The email address we gave earlier. That's probably the best way. Attach their resume and maybe put something in the title, say applying for, furniture salesperson job, and Tony and I will get it and we'll review it with our HR person. And then if it's a good fit, set up a 30-minute intro phone interview. And if it's a good fit, they'll come in for an hour and a half in-person interview. And then we'll assess at that point if it's a good fit to potentially hire that person.
Okay.
So we're looking, if there's anybody out there that's motivated, hungry, detail oriented.
Absolutely.
Not afraid of meeting new people, different situations, different, verticals. You'll be working in every industry, healthcare, schools, hospitality, not scared of the challenge. Potential growth is amazing. We're looking for the right person because we're trying to take the company to the next level, and we need the right people for that.
How many positions do you have open?
Right now, is it two? Two right now, and as the company grows, we'll add more. But we're looking for 2 people right now. Email us, please, if you think you fit that description.
Absolutely. If you're looking for a job, you want to work for a great Black-owned company, I would highly suggest, particularly if you have a great personality, you have a sales background, this is a great opportunity. Again, info@edwards with an S and hill.com. Yes. All right, so this is good stuff. So you have such great experience. You work with some of the best companies in the country, a lot of Marriotts. So do you work across the United States, or do you only focus on the DC, Maryland, Virginia area?
We do work across the country. We've even done some small things outside of the country, but we essentially focused on the continental United States. And we have done things as far away as California, New Jersey, South Carolina,
Colorado, Texas,
Kentucky, St. Louis,
Alabama,
and this region. So we focus on the DMV, but as long as the project is a good fit, we'll work anywhere in the United States.
So tell us about this new office that you opened up in St. Louis. How many offices do you have now?
Technically, we've got 3.
Okay. Where are they located?
We have a small office in Prince George's County, our main office here in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, and then we've got a small office in St. Louis.
Okay, so tell us about that. So you opened it. Why St. Louis? Why? St. Louis is not California. It's not LA. So why not LA? You could be on the beach. You could be building a lot of things out there. So, but why St. Louis?
Well, what the opportunity is. Part of our business plan involved opening satellite offices. You go open a satellite office, you got to dump a lot of cash into opening that office. We got an opportunity with a client to do some work in St. Louis. So we decided instead of opening that other office on the East Coast that we were going to open, let's open the office in St. Louis, and at least the startup will be supported by the project. Give us a little springboard, if you will, and give us time to get that office up and running. So that's really the genesis of that.
Okay, great. And so you are planning to do what in the St. Louis area? How is that going to be different from what you're doing in Prince George's County and Annapolis?
It's not.
Okay.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're just doing it in a different market.
Yeah. And we feel like there's even more opportunities out there because that's up and coming city. So now is a good time, for us to be out there.
No, without a doubt. And Mr. Michael Roberts. I don't know if you are. You familiar with Mike Roberts?
We are.
Yeah, he and his brother Steve. Yeah, but I know all the black people.
Oh, okay. Wow.
This is the United States Black Chambers. We know black people.
Right.
But they've done some great work. Across the country, man. They've been in everything from telecom to buildings to real estate. And so obviously, they have some great properties there in the St. Louis area as well. So I'm pretty sure you're already well connected with them. So that's a great contact there with you all. So this is great. So you're looking for greater opportunities for you all. Have you ever thought about acquiring a company or merging or partnering with another company as well? I'm a big proponent of that here at the Chamber. I think the way that we scale as being black businesses is by partnering up, because you mentioned earlier about the bank and how some of the banks close down. And typically what happens with banks is they're acquired. And so I do want to give a shout out right here really quickly to Industrial Bank, who is actually one of our partner with the United States Black Chambers Business Directory. They sponsor it. And they just acquired one of the black-owned banks out of New Jersey and New York. I think it was City National. And they just acquired it. So now they have 10 locations. So now they're in DC, they're in Maryland, and they're also in New Jersey and in New York. So if you are in the New York area, you're looking for a company or a black bank to deposit some of your money into and to do business with, reach out to Industrial Bank, one of our corporate partners. They're doing some great work there. So, but they just made that an acquisition. So now they're larger. So have you all ever thought about doing acquisitions, some mergers, some partnerships? And if so, what types of partnerships and mergers you're open to?
We have. Did you want to talk about it? Yeah, we have. We are interested in the right joint ventures, partnerships, and a potential merger or acquisition. But we also understand that it has to be the right fit. It has to be the right fit, and it has to be the right time. You don't want to partner with somebody that doesn't share your values, your core values, because again, at the end of the day, it's your reputation. Yes. You want to make sure it's somebody that's going to do what they need to do and finish the job, that you don't have those issues. And we've had some false starts. We've partnered with some folks at one point that we just it was impossible to work with them. Absolutely impossible. We literally walked them into multi-million-dollar contracts, and they didn't want to pay us. It was crazy. Wow. It was crazy. Yeah. And so we had to part ways. So we're very selective, just like we are with employees. We've got a certain way that we do business. We want somebody who fits that. So we're very methodical about it. All those things are on the table. And we've done some of it, and we'll continue to do it as it makes sense.
Hans, you want to say something on that?
As the company grows, we are going to, we'll be open to, just like Tony said, potential mergers, acquisitions, but we haven't found the right opportunity yet. So we're going to, continue having an open mind, like you said, because that's how you grow faster. By merging, acquiring. So we are aware of that, and we do get people knocking on the door occasionally. We just haven't found the right partner yet to do that with, but we are aware of it, and you are right. That is how you grow faster. I've seen several companies do it already, and they've grown exponentially.
Tremendously.
Yes, but they found the right partners. They didn't just rush into it. I've seen ones who rush into it and they fail. So we want to be very cautious and do our due diligence, like Tony says. And when the time is right, we'll know. We'll know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but the great thing is, it sounds like you took your time. Everyone makes mistakes in business. So I do want you to give us a couple of mistakes that you made because you've given us some great successes. But for those that are out there that are running business, and this is the reason why we exist, the United States Black Chambers, because we have a particular different experience in the United States Black Chambers, in the United States rather, than other ethnicities do. So it's important for us as a chamber to be here so that we can talk amongst ourselves with the issues that we deal with, how it affects us as being Black business owners. That way we understand that we're not in business by ourselves. Many times there are other individuals who look like us that are dealing with some of the same issues. So definitely want you to be able to talk about some of the things that some of the hurdles that you've had in business and some of the mistakes that you've made in business also.
You want to start?
Yeah, and then you got a list. So
Oh, so
he's got a list. He's got a list. So
No.
He looks at Hans first, like, Hans, you made all this mistake. You stop this.
Oh, no.
Okay. I'm joking.
It's been equal.
Foul on the
play. Wait a minute. Before you go there, this is what I want to do. So again, we're here with Tony Hill and Hans Edwards of Edwards and Hill Office Furniture. I do want to say hello to Sabrina Lane, Nicole Collins Hawkins. Thank you for joining us. And Natalie as well. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for joining us in our different watch parties. And there's a few others that I'll be mentioning later on. But what are some of the mistakes, Hans, that you all have made, and how were you able to recover from them as well?
Well, one was partnering with the wrong type of people because we were so eager to make the money in our earlier years, and then we got burnt by it. So we've learned that you can't just look at the dollar signs when a potential partner comes with a project to work on. You got to do due diligence on that company, and then even after you've done that, you still got to watch your back, and it takes time. Doing small projects with that person, I would say, don't do a multi-million-dollar project with somebody you don't really know, unless you're going to have an ironclad contract, and even that is no guarantee. Start small over a couple of years, see how the relationship goes, increase the project size you do together, and then when you guys feel comfortable with each other, expand to bigger projects. That's kind of how we do it now. When we were newer, we probably partnered with some people we should not have, and we got burnt. But thank God we've gotten through every situation pretty much unscathed, thank God. Not losing too much money, learning from the mistakes. But so from a partnering standpoint, just be very careful whether you're looking for a subcontractor to partner with or whether you're a sub to a prime. That's even more important. The prime you partner with, make sure they're ethical, have a good reputation for working with minority businesses and small businesses and paying them on time, and just do your due diligence before you partner with anybody, so you don't get burned on some of these partnerships. So that's one of mine. But go ahead.
That's a great one.
Yeah. I'd say two for me that are the biggest. One of them is taking my foot off the accelerator too soon. And what I mean by that is believing that the company was ready to kind of run on autopilot to a degree, and that I could go out there and really focus on doing what I need to do. And then an understanding that you gotta keep your toe in the water. Even if you have somebody to run it for you, you still got to keep your toe in the water. And then the other thing is, and this is a big one, because I don't think we as human beings pay enough attention to trusting our gut. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
And if something doesn't feel right with the deal, if something doesn't feel right with the potential employee, if something doesn't feel right with the current employee, keep your eyes open, because chances are there's something there. And if you take your eye off of it, you can do what we did at a point, which was ended up with a number of folks working for us that should have never been working for us.
Wow. And
then you got to clean that up and learn as you move forward to make sure you got the right folks.
Now that is absolutely huge. All right, we're about to wrap up here. So I want to say hello to Eddie X, Devane, Sequita Brand. Thank you for joining us. Kenneth Brown Sr., thank you for joining us. Verna Bailey, thank you for joining us. Jasmine Lee Morse, you all probably know her. And Keith Ross, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for joining our broadcast. Thank you for sharing the broadcast as well. this is really great. I mean, because there's so many people that are starting business. Black people are really doing it when it comes to starting business.
Yes.
But what we're not doing a great job at is what you all have done is in partnerships. So one of the things that I'm always encouraging our members to do is to partner with each other, do business with each other, find ways to say yes with each other. So which is absolutely key because there are a lot of companies that are starting from ground up and growing at it on their own. But we need more multi-million-dollar companies. We need companies that are doing hundreds of millions of dollars and companies that are doing billions of dollars. And the way that's going to happen by partnerships and getting together with the right people, as you say. And then that's also going to happen by getting access to capital but building, which is having great integrity, building relationships with financial institutions and doing business on and on from there, which is absolutely important. All right. So give us some, so you told us about two pieces of advice that, well, actually, you didn't do that. I have two final questions here. What are two pieces of advice that you would give to business owners to help them succeed? I know one was to make sure that you find the right partners. But what are some of the other pieces of advice that you would give?
Okay, I got one that we learned kind of midway through the company. Was it cash is king? Okay, you gotta watch the money. You gotta understand how to read those financials, and having a CFO or a fractional CFO, if you're not financially trained, if you don't have like a degree in finance or something like that, or having a friend or a part-timer who can help you with that is so critical. We did it on our own for the first 10, 12 years?
Probably, at least.
And we made mistakes. And, part of the reason we were able to get that bank loan was we got a part-time CFO to help us organize the financials to present it to the bank. That was life-changing for our business.
Wow.
Now we have a part-time CFO that we're working with. That's just, working with Tony closely. They have totally changed the financial standing of the company even more than where it was before. So I cannot stress enough to get that financial guidance or education as you grow your business, because that's a major pillar that I never realized it until, we started growing this business and went to get those loans or try to balance the cash flow to pay the bills and stuff. We've learned a lot from our CFO, and I mean, there's ways to get help through the SBA if you can't afford a CFO. But I strongly recommend learning how to read those financials. That's critical. So,
know your numbers, right? Know your numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's always key.
Yes.
So what was your question again?
He heard financials and he blanked out because he's always looking at numbers.
Two points of advice that you give to individuals. Yeah.
I want to try and make sure that I give you some of what I feel are the biggest ones. Don't operate on emotion. It's probably one of the biggest ones, especially for African American owned businesses.
Yes.
Because I could tell you many times where I've had a client or somebody who's worked for the client who I believe was trying to set me up, but I didn't take the bait. I never do. No matter what happens, no matter what they do, you got to remain professional. You got to be strategic. Can't let them pull you off your game, right? Whoever it is. You are in business to make money. I don't make any bones about that with my clients. If they go, "Oh, it's not about the money," I go, "Yes, it is."
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is. I tell them in a heartbeat, I enjoy making sure that your product came to you the way you needed it and that your project ended up the way that you needed it and that your employees enjoy it. That's fantastic. But I get up in the morning and come to work because I need to make a living and I need to make sure that my employees are able to make a living. I don't just get up in the morning and come here because I love furniture. That's not really why. So I think you need to make sure that you keep the end game in mind. What's the end game? And don't allow anybody, your employees, included, your business partner included, to pull you off that track. If Hans lets me pull him off of his focus, then he's not doing what he needs to do for the company. It would be my fault, but he shouldn't let me do that. I can't let him pull me off mine either. If either of us sees the other getting pulled off or not doing what we need to do, because we all get tired, we all get burned out. If I sometimes tell Hans, if I'm not doing something, call me. I just sent him an email, I think earlier today, was like, when I get in the office, I said, grab me and make sure we discuss this. Because he sent me that email like 3 days ago. And I've been so busy, I've just been going, and he sent it to me again, and I'm like, crap, I didn't, So I told him, when I come in the office, grab me. And so you got to do that. Ego out the door, operate on focusing on the end game, get it done. Because you're going to run into challenges, and power through, get it done.
No, this is great. This is absolutely great. And so, there's definitely some members here at the chamber that I want to keep connecting you all to. As I tell everyone, my number one goal with you being a member of the chamber is to help you to make money. And that's not saying that once you join today that you're going to get contracts tomorrow. But we do what we can to start working together with you, introducing you to members, and introducing you to other individuals that you can begin to partner with. And that happened on one of our conference calls, right, Hon? So we had a conference call with the National Association of Black Hotel Owners, Operators, and Developers.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, obviously you already had a prior relationship with them, but we brought you on and you talked to Andy, and you all were able to kind of talk about some other things as well. So we're always looking at ways in which our members can work together and partner together and do business together on a larger scale. So this is good. So now we're at the end of 2019. This is our last question for tonight. And then actually, I wanted to ask you about the Ravens too. So we're talking about
he's the Ravens guy.
Listen, man, Lamar, this guy is playing some real football. It is absolutely crazy. It is crazy.
It's amazing.
So we're at the end of a decade. We're at the end of a year. So we're about to turn over to 2020. So what is your plan for the next 10 years? What's your plan for 2020? As you all, I don't know if you've already started to kind of brainstorm and look at some different things there. So where do you see yourself going over the next year, the next 5 years?
Where you want me to go? You can go and I'll jump in. I'm not going to say what it is, obviously, because we haven't done it yet. But there's another vertical that we're focusing on. We're trying to add to our current revenue streams. And so there's another vertical that we're going to focus on that I believe is going to be very good for us. So that's one of the things we're going to focus on. The other thing is refocusing on the things that we focused on in the past that you get a little fuzzy on and you get away from and you forget that they're there. I liken it to kind of like going to church or fellowshipping. And I'll be honest that I don't always go. But when you do go, it reminds you of the stuff that you know, but you kind of got away from it.
Right.
And so I'm going to refocus on the business plan, retool the business plan because it's always a work in progress and it's a living document. And then we need to get back to something that we've done before, which is make sure that we got the right people in the right seats on the bus. If not, move them into the right seats. As we hire new people, make sure we're hiring people that are a good fit. Every so often, you need to evaluate your clients. We've had, I think, 2 times in our 21 years where we've had to fire a client. Sometimes you got to fire a client.
Yes.
You're in business to make money, and if the client isn't allowing you to make money, and if they're not good for your business, then you're wasting time and energy on a client that's causing you to lose money that you could be putting into a client that's helping you grow. Yeah. So I think to just go back to the ABCs of business and remind ourselves to keep those things sharp. Whenever we do that, there's a leap for the company. And then we kind of like look back and go, oh, we've already done 7 of the 10 things in our business plan. Great. And then we can focus on those 3 and get those done and then retool it. What's the next level? What does that look like? So we want to continue to grow, continue to open other satellite offices when it makes sense and where it makes sense, and focus on succession plan.
Oh, man, that's huge. What about you, Hans? I do want to. I want to piggyback on that succession plan. That'll be our final question. What about you?
I was just about to, finding the right senior management for the future to help us run this, so we can be out there doing more high level development, because there's so much business out there we could be going after that, while we're trying to revamp the staff and, find the right people, we kind of have to focus on a lot on the internals of the company rather than being able to go out. Like Tony wants to be out there more. I'd like to, there's certain verticals I would like to go out and get involved in more. So having that strong senior management team that we can rely on to free us up to do what we truly are good at and would benefit the company, take it to the next level even more. That's something I'm definitely looking for in the very near future for our company. But go ahead.
No, that's great. It's so important to in business to really understand what your strengths are, right? It's so important because in business we end up doing a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of different things because we have to. But a lot of those daily tasks that we're doing do not necessarily lead to cash, don't necessarily lead to money. So I've learned in business to be able to kind of take those things that I don't like to do and pass them off to someone else so I can focus on the 1, 2, or 3 things that I do very well. Because sometimes as Black business owners, we're trying to do everything. We're just trying to make money. And we're so hungry, kind of to some of your earlier point, Tony, we're so hungry for business that we find ourselves taking deals that we shouldn't be taking and entering into deals that we shouldn't be entering into, and even going after things that aren't our core competencies. We just realize I just need some money. I want to check, and I can do this. I can do it all. Yeah, but no, if you will probably make more money if you focused on what you're really good at versus spreading yourself too thin and doing some things, taking out the trash. Let somebody else take the trash out. Let somebody else do the janitorial service. You focus on the furniture. Have you all run into that in your business?
Absolutely. Yes. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier too, when I said, don't take your foot off the gas pedal too soon. You got to make sure you got the right people in those positions. I notoriously, in the past, have been horrible, absolutely horrible at delegating. And it's because when I used to work for somebody else many years ago, I got burned really bad. And so I didn't trust anybody to get it done. I did it myself. Well, I can't do it all myself, at least not well. So when I tried to break out of that mold, I saw how I could potentially get burned again. And I went back to doing it again. But I realized that the key was finding the right people. And when I find the right people that I can trust, I can turn those things over to them, because I found myself literally having to break myself out of the habit of doing stuff that as CEO, I shouldn't be doing.
Right.
And I know I shouldn't be doing it, but I just feel like I got to do it myself. So I've gotten better at that now. And I'll say, I realized when we turned that corner, my life used to be get up in the morning at 5 or 6, and between shaving and showering and breakfast, I'd be answering emails and taking phone calls and putting out fires. And then I'd get in the office. Hans and I call it the vortex. I get caught in the vortex at home. And then I'd get in the office 10:30, 11 o'clock, 11:30. And then I'd get in the office and then I'd put out fires for the staff till about 4 in the afternoon. And then at 4, I'd start Tony's work. And I'd be here till 8, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 at night. Well, that doesn't work out too well. So I'd be at networking events and I'd have to jump up and run out of the conference and take a phone call and put out a fire. Well, I don't have to do that anymore. I was just out of town on some business last week for 5 days. It was supposed to be 4 days, but I ended up staying an extra day. Didn't really have to deal with anything other than what I was there dealing with. So that tells me I've got the right people in the right places, that nothing came off the tracks back here. Nothing came off the tracks in St. Louis. Everything I was monitoring via email on my phone, but nothing came off the tracks. And so that's what we need to focus on and continue to do more. And as we grow the team and grow the company, we need to not lose sight of that, because it's very counterproductive to not be able to focus on what you're especially if you spend money to go be in another state for a week and you're not maximizing what you're there for.
So last question. So if there's a company, a government, a municipality, institution, someone's watching this video that needs some office furniture installation, they need some of the services you provide, give everyone again the types of services that you provide, and give us your couple of minute sales pitch why they should use Edwards and Hill.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we're Edwards and Hill Office Furniture. We're a 21-year-old firm, and we are full service. You'll get the utmost integrity, respect, and you'll get what you ask us for. I tell people, if we don't help you, then what are you hiring us for? What are you paying us for? We focus on customer service. We make sure that we don't just sell you furniture. We'll be there to service it in the future. If your needs change, we'll do what we can to make sure that you have what you need. We are the furniture experts. Chances are you or those in your organization are not. That's why you hire us. We don't expect you to be. We will educate you. We'll make sure that you're at the very least dangerous with furniture. Mm-hmm. And between the two of us, with us listening to what you need and then offering you suggestions that will help you, we'll discover what is going to work best for you. You tell us your price point where you need to be. We'll offer you the furniture that fits that bill. And we don't sell anything that's not good because we lose our shirt coming back servicing it all the time. Exactly. So you're going to get quality furniture no matter what. So if you need furniture, again, anything commercial, we don't do residential, but if it's commercial furniture, we can supply it for you. So give us a call, 301-317-4250, or email us at info@edwardsandhill.com. We'd be glad to help you.
That's great, guys. I think that's a great message there. And if you're out there, again, if you're a company, if you're a hotel organization, if you are government or municipality, here's a great company. They have a great track record. I highly suggest that you use them. I've been in contact with them now, and they answer the phone. They do what they said they're going to do. And one of the best ways I learned to find out about a person or individual is to get around people that know them. And so some of the people that know them speak very well of them as well. And they've been members of the chamber. So we want to do what we can to definitely continue to connect you all as well. So this is great. Any final thoughts? Any other thoughts that you want to leave out there with everyone about Edwards and Hills, about the broadcast, about the Ravens this Sunday, man? I mean, listen, man. They're looking good, man. They're looking good.
They're looking real good. Let's hope we keep winning. But getting back to what you just said, and it dovetails back to the whole integrity piece. That's been our goal. It has been successful. And just like you said, people do nothing but speak highly of us. That goes a long way. And if people speak poorly of you, it goes even further. So, there's nobody that we owe money that we don't pay. There's nobody that we treat unfairly. There's nobody's name, even the people who do badly. The folks we told you about that we helped in a tremendous way and they wouldn't even pay us. But we're not telling you who they are. We don't say bad things about people. Again, it's about integrity. So that what has happened these 21 years and what we want to happen for the next 21 years is that when somebody says Edwards and Hill, people say, I know those guys. They're some good guys. I know that company. It's a good company. You can trust them. And it happened organically. But, perception's reality. It really is. And we're not. I'd like to think we are. But I've been at events and people come up and introduce me and they say, this is Tony Hill. They own the largest African-American furniture company in this country, And I'm like, well, not really,
Country? Wow.
But that's the perception from some people. And that's just by virtue of the way we do business and how we do business. And so that reputation is everything. It's your calling card. When things go wrong, and sometimes they will, it's your reputation that you can stand on.
That's great. What about yourself, Hans? Any final thoughts?
3 things I want to, put out there for, all the other business owners: network, education, partnerships. You got to network to help grow your business, which is joining an organization like US Black Chamber, and get involved. You have to get involved, otherwise you're going to get nothing out of it. Educate yourself. learn everything you can about your business, about your competitors, learn that financial information that we were talking about, learning, so, where you feel like you're your own CFO if you don't have one, learn enough to be dangerous, and then partner with the right companies to help grow your business, whether it's a subcontractor or you a sub of a prime. Those are three things that can help your business grow, and encourage people to really focus on those things. It's really helped us grow over the last couple of years. So
yeah. Brian, I'd like to add one other thing if I got another 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So one of the other things, and I can't even say why we did it outside of the fact that maybe we wanted to maintain control, but probably 85 to 90% of the business that we've done in the 21 years, we've been the prime.
Give me that number again.
Probably about 85 to 90% of the work that we've done, we've been the prime.
That's huge, man. You're just bringing that up now. We should have talked about that.
Well, I guess we kind of take it for granted. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
not on purpose, but we do. And I think sometimes we sell ourselves short as a community. We once did partner with a very large competitor of ours that had been around for decades. And we partnered with them, to be quite frank, because the client wasn't 100% sold that we could get it done on our own.
Right.
We believed that we could, but the client wasn't sold. So I saw the writing on the wall, and I understood that in order for us to land this deal, we needed to partner with these folks. So we did. But we were very careful with them because my gut in the beginning told me that they lacked integrity. And I'll simply say that during the course of the contract, we did have to have our attorney send them a cease and desist. And thank goodness we had an ironclad contract, because they were trying to backdoor us with our own client. Wow. They were sabotaging our job that we were paying them to help us do, literally to try and make us fail. Because what they were saying was, if these guys succeed, they're going to be our competition on the next job.
Right.
And they literally were trying to sabotage us. And fortunately, I was able to show the client that that's what they were doing. And the client allowed me to kick them off the job.
Wow.
They stayed around for a number of years after, and then this was a huge company, and they're no longer around.
They went out of business.
No longer around.
No longer around.
Went out of business.
So, but the point of this story is that they did two things. When we went and had the first meeting with them, they tried to convince us that the contract that we were going to be signing as the prime, they tried to convince us to take a portion of the money of our contract and let us know how much of the money of our contract they were going to need. And I said, well, where'd you come up with these numbers? And they said, oh, it's on a spreadsheet somewhere. I said, then you need to pull the spreadsheet out. I said, and why are you charging this? They said, what do you mean? I said, well, how many people are you going to have on the job? What's the rate that you're going to have for them? How many hours are they going to do? I mean, they just wanted us to just accept this blind number. They even said, well, this is for equipment. And I said, well, first of all, if you got to buy that equipment, we'll buy it. And second of all, you've been in business for 50 years. Why do you need to buy equipment?
Right.
Right. So, but anyway, the point being, the job that we were doing wasn't so difficult to do, but they tried to convince us that it was. They said, well, great. If you guys want to do the job, you go ahead and do it. We'll see how you do. I said, so let me make sure I got this straight. I said, so what you're saying is, unless we agree to the numbers that you're putting on the table for our contract,
right,
then you're not going to participate. That's right. I said, gentlemen, this meeting's over. Thank you very much. Have a good day. And Hans and I got up and left. And so the client, again, required that we go back and work with them. But again, we saw who we were working with. So, but what we learned, and I'll speak for myself in particular, what I learned on that is don't be fearful, be smart. If it's too much for you to chew, don't bite it off. But just look at it objectively and say, okay, here's the job. Here's what's required. I do or I don't know how to do this. And I really don't need anybody to help me get it done. And if you don't need anybody to help you get it done, be the prime. Go do it. And that's how we built the company to where we have it today. And the only time we're a sub is when we absolutely have to, and when being a sub makes sense in our bigger picture.
Yeah. So many of our companies don't have the capacity to be the prime. So how have you? Being the prime is a big deal. So obviously you get a larger piece of the pie as well, and you can figure out who you want to be your subs up under that as well. So, but how were you able to do that for such a long time? Actually, be a prime and keep that going. I talk to companies every day, all the time, who are trying to be primes, but they just don't have it. So, when did you realize, hey, we could be primes and without failing? Because the worst thing is you want to do is have a contract and say I'm the prime and don't deliver.
Absolutely. So that's why I said you don't want to bite off more than you can chew. You got to be honest with yourself. So you know what you got in the bank. You know what you got liquid. You know what your AP looks like, what your AR looks like. And you got to be honest about that, whatever it is. You know if you do or don't have a line of credit and what that is or isn't. And you got to look at your pipeline. And then you got to strategically choose partners. So maybe you find that partner that's going to give you a 25% deposit on the project or 50% deposit on the project. If you can negotiate that into the terms of your contract, do so. Then that way you get a little money up front to start the project. So you start the project, bills become due, you pay them with that 25%. Now you got to be smart and make sure that you set this contract up so that by the time you need to send that money out, that the next payment is due from the client. And then when you get to the end, they're not going to give you the rest of the money till you finish. But try and set up some strategic payments through the process so that with your cash flow based on your pipeline in conjunction with any deposits and structured payments that you're going to get from the client, that you will be able to keep that thing going. And then at the end of the day, failure is not an option. I tell folks around here that work for me, part of being an entrepreneur, you're going to run into tight spots. It's going to happen, period. Part of being an entrepreneur is, how do I fix it?
Yeah.
Because you got to make it work. How do I fix it and make it happen?
Are you all training companies? Have you done any type of training?
Yeah, we do mentor folks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you charge for it, or do you,
we haven't?
No.
It's usually people that we come across, sometimes in a partnering situation. Sometimes, let's say we're just at a networking event and we're sitting around a table talking with folks, and somebody might have a particular problem, and we may say, hey, here's what we did. And we'll just say, hey, if you have an issue, give me a call. I'll spend 10, 15 minutes on the phone with you and give you my advice. You do it, it works for you at the end of the day, but I'll give you a call, that kind of thing. No, we didn't get here by ourselves. People helped us.
Exactly.
And still do.
So we'd like to give back, to other up and coming, businesses, small businesses, African American businesses. So we're always open to give back because we have so much knowledge. And we probably write a book one day and change the names to protect the guilty. And
I'll end with a little of my comedy act. There's a There's a saying: be careful.
Save them, Hans. Save them, Hans.
Oh God!
I won't go too far. There's a saying: be careful of the toes that you step on today, because they may be connected to the ass that you have to kiss tomorrow.
How about that?
And so, again, I come from a radio background, and there's a gentleman who was my intern when I used to do the morning show at one of the most popular radio stations here in Baltimore. Well, a lot of people treated him like an intern. I treated him like the man that he was. He's big time now. Wow. Huge. Wow. So if I ever got in a tough situation, I could probably call him and say, hey, you got a job?
Yeah. But
anybody who treated him like an intern might not be able to do that. You never know where people are going to be. Exactly. And you should treat everybody with respect anyway. But just, just be careful.
Yeah, no, that's the same saying goes, be careful how you treat people on your way up, because you might see those same people on your way down.
And if you treated them wrong, they will back up and let you fall.
They would definitely back up and talk about you.
I've seen it. Yeah.
All right. So we're finishing up here. We pretty much this is good. But one of the last things I do want to say, if you are a company out there and you're in the furniture business, you're in the furniture installation business, FF&E, and you actually want to reach out to these two individuals, I would highly suggest that reach out to them. Again, this is another reason why it would be great for you to be a member of the chamber, because we really do what we can to connect our members. As you all have seen, we've done that with you all over times with several of our members. So it's important. So if you're a business owner and you need support and you're looking for more individuals to work with, become a member. The United States Black Chambers, hop onto our website, usblackchambers.org, usblackchambers.org, hop onto the website, join, become a member of the chamber. One of the things that we need as Black business owners is we need support. We need other business owners so that they can, and it's nothing like having a mentor, someone who could point you in the right direction, say, don't go this way, go this way. So two things I tell people all the time that we do. One, we do what we can to help you to make money by connecting you with the right resources, right individuals, right tools. But we also teach you how to save money, because a lot of times people in going into business, we spend money in the wrong areas, particularly trying to go into the federal space and in many other spaces, we spend money going in the wrong directions. So again, if you want to reach out to these individuals, give them your contact information, Hans as well. Again, how they can reach you all.
All right, that's info@edwardsandhill.com. So info at Edwards with an SANDHILL.com. And our phone number 301-317-4250. And I'm Hans Edwards. That's Tony Hill.
Yeah. And it just occurred to me, and I think this is important. We recently just saved, I don't want to say those words because it's going to sound like a commercial, a lot of money on our insurance. And I will say to you, when you are in business, don't get complacent with your suppliers and your vendors. Every so often, check up on them. I recently checked up on our insurance folks, found out we were getting ripped off, quite frankly. And so we switched completely. I'm glad that I looked when I did, because if they'd continued doing what they were doing, we would have lost a lot of money over time. So, not everybody has integrity. So just check. Yeah.
No, this is great. All right. So so what about the Ravens, man? Are they going to the Super Bowl?
Well, we don't say that so that we don't jinx ourselves. But if I had to say so, they look really good.
Man, they're looking much better than what I expected. When's the next game? Do you know the next game?
It's this Sunday. I gotta say my piece about the Ravens.
Okay.
My brothers and I and my nephews went to the playoff game that they lost last year, and everybody was yelling for Joe Flacco to be put back into the game. And at first, because Lamar was struggling, but at first we were kind of feeling the same way. And then I came home and I thought about it from a business perspective. And I called my brothers and I said, you know what? The coach did the right thing. I said, because Lamar's his new guy. And if he would have yanked him out of the game, it would have crushed him. Yeah. And then how do you build it after that? I said, so no matter, he wasn't going to get us with the stage where he wasn't going to get us to the Super Bowl anyway. So best to let him stay in there, take his blows, and know that the coach had his back, and then come back next year. I just didn't think he was coming back like this.
Nobody knew this guy was coming back like this.
Oh, my goodness.
This is crazy. I was so glad they beat the Patriots. I was so glad they beat the Patriots.
You and me both. Yes. You and me both.
Listen, so we'll see, man. And the Patriots should have lost this Sunday, man. I don't know what happened with Philly, man. Philly just they should have won that game.
But you got to watch Tom Brady. He will light you up.
Yes.
Yeah, man. No.
Yeah. So,
this is great, gentlemen.
I'm looking for big things from him. Yeah.
This is definitely great. This is really great. And then your web address is down at the bottom of the screen as well. So those that are interested in learning more about you, they can definitely go into your web address that we have down at the bottom of the screen. So thank you all. Hans and Tony, thank you for joining us on the USBC Directory Live. This was a great show. I think you gave out some great information. And thank you for joining us. Any other final words? Because I know you have like one or two things you might want to say.
The only thing I'll say is kudos to the chamber, because
Yes, definitely.
you are very good at making those connections, and not just minority business to minority business, but also minority business to corporate America. You guys lay some great foundations for the relationships there and open doors. And that's key. Like I said in the beginning of the show, I don't ask anybody to give us anything except a seat at the table and the opportunity to earn the business. If we can't earn it, that's on us. But give us a shot.
No, without a doubt, we do what we can to try to help develop businesses so that they are ready for those opportunities also. And this is why I'm definitely explaining to companies, if you're a company out there in this industry, somewhere in this industry, reach out to these two gentlemen to see how you can work together with them, learn from them. And one of the things that we always talk about here at the Chamber is if you're reaching out to a business that's larger than yours, always figure out something that you can bring to them. What is it that you can help that business with, whether it be information, some resources, a relationship, because many times we're asking from those that are larger from us, but we always need to find out what type of value we can add to them as well.
Exactly.
So this is great, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today.
Right.
I want to give some more love to our sponsor of the show. So again, this episode was sponsored by our United States Black Chambers member, Warhol and Wall Street. Warhol and Wall Street was featured on our USBC Directory Live 2 weeks ago, November 7, 2019. That was a great show. We had quite a few viewers for that, but that was a really great one. Go back and watch it, Tony.
Okay.
Inside joke. Warhol and Wall Street creates, nurtures, and develops an economy of culture producers who will set the trends of tomorrow. Warhol and Wall Street provides business clients with the most dynamic, creative, and state-of-the-art multimedia campaigns through individual creation, open collaboration, and assisted development. Warhol and Wall Street uses strategy, art, and experience to create a stronger relationship between their clients and their customers. You must have a marketing budget. So if you're looking to grow, you have to put some money into a marketing budget. And if you're looking for a great marketing company, log on to Cut Through Be Heard, cutthroughbeheard.com, and locate our sponsor, Warhol and Wall Street, and see if you utilize their services for your marketing for your company as well. Well, gentlemen, this was great. Thank you for joining us. And listen, let's get ready for some football this weekend. Let's get to, I'm about to watch some basketball here shortly.
And thank you. Appreciate it.
No, thank you very much. And listen, be on that conference call next week, Tuesday. Again, we're going to have JP Morgan Chase. They're going to be discussing black pathways, advancing black pathways as well. So
sounds good. All right.
Yeah. Next Tuesday at 1 o'clock.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. Y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Brian.
All right,
Have a good evening.
Take care. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right.